Hey everybody, today I'm going to do the continuation on the automation video I did yesterday for Cubase 9.5. This is not a beginner's tutorial. It's fairly comprehensive and it goes over pretty much everything. So let's get started. All right, at F6, let me do a little recap. If you haven't watched the other video first, I would do that. So in that video, I covered the global settings, the 3 different modes of automation, trim, suspend write, suspend read, and I think I kind of got through this. There were a couple things I missed on that last video, so I will show them now. Start with that. So say we have several different automation lanes open. So we can used only and sometimes I leave this checked. This requires you to click one of these. So I want to see use volume. As soon as I click this mute's going to go away. This EQ automation lane is going to go away, but this will stay because there's automation on it. So boom. So that's kind of handy. I use that a lot. Hide all when I just want to clean the plate. I'll do that and get rid of everything. And then if you have automation, you can click show used and it will open up every lane that has automation. You're like, oh, I forgot that I did EQ automation here. So very good stuff in here as well. We'll do this. Let me see if we should start with this settings first. Yeah, let's just knock this out. So show data on tracks. Basically, if this is checked, you get the waveform for the actual audio track showing up there. It can be nice when you're visually want to make an automation move at a certain point. You can look at it. It's too much information for me, so most of the time I just leave that off. Use virgin territory. This is almost a great option. What it is, you can see if it's checked here, and I write automation, say on this, we're going to write a little volume automation. Okay, so I've got some automation I'm writing. Oh, it punches me out. We go through the loop. But you can see it only did it in this little area here. Same thing if I were to write some more. I only have automation there. If that isn't checked, you're going to have continuation lines. So the beauty of that is when you have this in read automation, I play back, no matter where my level, there's no automation here, so I can actually change the levels. We'll take it all the way down. As soon as we get to this automation point, it's going to jump up to there. And then when there's no automation, it's going to use this last level. But I could go say, okay, that's perfect. That's about where I want it. But if you're happy with other moves, you know, I'll typically use this for like chorus. I want to bring a little impact or raise the vocals, just the background vocals, just a hair, just in that part. I'll use virgin territory because it's nice. Visually, you can see, okay, here's where I did automation. And the other benefit is if you don't have that checked, you get and you write some automation, you write some more. Oh, we're in right. So I'm writing automation. One. Let's start fresh. Okay. It is not checked. Go back to the beginning. I'm going to write some automation. Let's get rid of these mutes. These are annoying. Okay. So I'm going to write some automation here. You see how we have this line and this line to the beginning of the project and to the end of the project? So say I just wanted to do a move there. Well, you've got automation all the way to the end, whether you like it or not. And if I try to go, if this is in read, I try to move the volume down, oh, it keeps bouncing back. So if you tweak that, you've got to go to the end of your project, put in a point, bring it down, so that's kind of a hassle. So virgin territory is a nice feature, but I think they implemented it just a little bit wrong. There's one thing they should have done that would have made it 100% more useful, and that problem is this beginning. Let me clear it. So whether you start, so we're using virgin territory. I'm going to write a little bit of automation. Watch what happens. Oh, coming right. Okay. Okay, it all looks good. One little funny thing though, it adds this little automation point, which is equal to this automation point. So you're going to get this level every time, say you have your song looped. And let me first show you. So I go through this automation. I'm not going to write, but I want the volume down here. As soon as watch where it's at. Okay, volume. I got it too quick. Okay. So it leaves there. It's at 479. I'll take it all the way to 0. It's at infinity right now. Watch what happens when it gets to 1. Oh, 10.3. And that is this value, 10.3. So I even tried to outsmart it by doing a bar offset and moving the bar 1 out here. So in theory, it's not even looping past that point, so it shouldn't be reading it, but it does. So I think it's just an oversight, and hopefully it gets fixed. If that's fixed, this would be a million times more useful. The fact that it does that makes me not like using it. So that's virgin territory. Could be great. Okay, this one I leave on all the time. And that basically, if I don't have, say we don't have anything written, we go to the beginning and we change the EQ frequency. As soon as we did, this automation lane opened up, which is nice because otherwise you would have to know to drill down to strip 3, EQ, EQ3, frequency, and see your parameter. So you'd have to go to more, and then strip 3. Where was, so you can see why this is a nice feature. So anyway, that is that. Return time, when you're done with automation, it's how quickly it bounces back to existing automation. So if you have it down like here, and say you have existing automation, say all the way at the beginning, and I were to write some automation, okay. I got to do this on one track, so let me get rid of this one. Okay, so we have existing automation there. Reading. Oh. Okay, we're reading automation. How quickly is it going to go back to there? Okay, so that, first I had snap. I don't know if that makes a difference. Let's check it out. Oh, no, I don't think it has any dependency on snap, but you can see it's almost immediate. If you want it, and there should be a little ms per milliseconds. So say you wanted it to gradually go back 121 milliseconds. So I do the same exact thing. Okay, writing, how quickly is it going to go back to there? Okay, maybe it is dependent on snap, because that's no 121 milliseconds, or is it? It is. So you can see, so let's just make it even bigger so it's obvious. 800 milliseconds. And we'll write from here, put this up here, here. Okay, we're gonna write some automation. Okay, I'm all the way down. So you can see, let's clear it and start fresh. Okay, go to the beginning, do one pass, we'll leave it at the max. Okay, now we go back again. Okay, we're writing, and you can see where there was automation, it had that angled line. That line represented 821 milliseconds. So for the most part, I like this very low, if not 1. Sometimes it'll be a little too quick. I'll put it down around 10. So I like that very low. There's rarely a time when I want it to gradually, and if I'm doing, a fade in or something, there's better ways to do it than messing with this. So usually I like keeping that low. The lower it is, it responds. You let go, it bounces, it goes to wherever the existing track is. Um, so anyway, reduction level. This has to do with, excuse me, this has to do with actual writing. So if you take the pen tool and you want to draw on your automation, thought I did the pen tool. Pen tool. Okay, so I'm doing volume automation here, and you see there's less points than when you first saw me drawing. It's basically how thinned out do you want it, and I think the reduction level normally is like 49, or 50. If I have 100%, that means it is going to do the bare minimum to keep my moves. See, I have few points, as opposed to the return time reduction level. Say I had this 0. This is not going to reduce at all, which is nice, because if you're doing detailed work, you don't want it to. So you can see it kept pretty much all of the automation points. So for me, somewhere in the middle, that's a little excessive. Each one of these just requires another read for your computer to do. And if it's not helping anything, I would just, keep it in the middle. I would use other tools for curves and stuff like that. So I usually keep this pretty low. I don't like it to thin it out too much, but it depends what I'm doing and what I'm using it for. Spike detection range. This again should have a ms for milliseconds after it. But anyway, this basically says, okay, if there's automation being written and it goes from super low to super high within 4 milliseconds, that's a spike. I'm not going to write it. So I don't know what the default is. I like this at 0 or maybe like 1 or 2, because I'm doing everything intentionally and I know my hardware is all good. So I would say if you've got a bad controller or something that randomly puts spikes in there that gets written as automation, start bumping that up. I would start with 0, or, personally, or maybe 2. What, 0. I'd start with 0 if you have a problem with automation getting written, and if you leave this checked, you'll know because you'll see it. Then you address the issue rather than, saying everything between, 0 and 10 milliseconds, just ignore it. So no. So I would put that at 0. Freeze trim, we talked about that on the first part of the video. So I usually have it on manually, but I think this is a default. So whatever you like. If you want more info on that, watch the other video. Okay, so we covered that. And okay, the fill stuff. Okay, so this basically, let's start fresh again. Okay, so if we have fill to start, and I'm here, right here, and I'm writing automation, blah, 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 blah. Okay, watch what happens when I let go. I let go, it backfilled all the way to the start of the project, where you can see whatever that level was. So Anyway, so that is useful, and all of these have a lock. The first time it's enabled, okay, I'm gonna write automation. So the second I let go, it's gonna jump out of automation. It's gonna backfill all the way to the start, whatever level I'm at. You know, I'll put it at negative 1.73. So it's in a backfill, and then that light for a start is going to go away. So you saw that just happen. And when you stop, or when you're done with that pass totally, that'll go away. 2 clicks of it puts a little lock there. That means every time, okay, I did 1 pass, ended low. Okay, so you can see I can go right back. That is still lit. I am still gonna fill back to the beginning. So one additional click will lock it. So if you're just gonna do a one-off, just click it once, it'll go away. So to end is basically the same thing, except point to the end. So we write automation. Okay, let go of the mouse, and we're filled to the end. So any other automation you had in here, let me just show you. Say I had some automation, and I wrote here. All right, so it's going to go to the end. It's going to blow all that away, and it's going to blow it away at negative 10.8. I thought. Oh, I didn't have that locked, so it wasn't checked anymore. But I will just lock it. Okay, we're writing automation. I'm going to let go at negative 14. Boom. We are now, at this point, value negative 14. So that's fill to end. And since we're talking about that and the info line, if you don't see it, make sure not that. This little thing is checked. I like most of them checked. But anyway, so if you have info line, you can actually see where the automation point is in the value. And getting to that gap mode, if I have that selected, see it's black. If I say yes, it is the last terminator. So all the rest of it is going to go away the second I click yes. So I have no automation here, which is a totally awesome thing. I would love to be able to do that for the beginning as well. Steinberg. Anyway, okay. Loop. Okay. So say my locators are just in this area, and we're in touch automation. We've got this selected. I'll lock it. And we write automation all over. Boom, 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 writing. So watch what happens when I punch out. Okay. It reloads. So you can see this area is right in between the loops. So we're filling the loop, which is in between the left and the right up, with this value. When I punched out, it was, 0.04. So it backfilled, but only as far as the left locator. Another handy thing if you want to, do some automation, but everything on either side is great. Just put your loop in there and have that. Hey, I'm back. I had to take a little break and figure something out. I've got an answer for you on the fill gaps. So if I'm using virgin territory, have no automation in these areas, I can go to fill gaps on selected track. If I choose that, it's going to write automation here. It's going to write from the last automation value. So it's going to draw a line from there to there. It's going to go from here to here and this level to this level. So you can see it writes all the way to the next point and then goes up from there. So whatever the last one is, it will fill it in with that value. So that is fill gaps on selected track. You can also fill it in with current value. So say I'm here and I have my fader at negative 48.3. When I do fill gaps, it's going to write way down here somewhere, negative 48.3. So fill gaps with current value on selected track, boom. We look down here, click that one, 48.3. So it did that for all three of them as opposed to using the last terminator point. If we were to undo that and do fill gaps on selected tracks, now we're using that last terminator point, automation point, to fill that in. All right, I think that covers it, and you can do this from the mix window as well. So this, if I'm moving this fader, let's see what we're looking at here. Mix, go to, if I move this fader, you can see this one's corresponds. So you can write it automation in either view. It's going to do the same thing. Read and write are here. Sometimes if I like to see all the faders moving around, so I'll go in this view. But most of the time I'm in the other view because I like to look at it visually and see, the automation visually through the timeline. Oh, the pin, did I talk about the pin tool? Okay. Hopefully in the first one I covered the pen tool, sine waves, and or the line tool, the pen tool, all of these. I'm gonna have to double check if I cover that. If I haven't covered it, I will do part 3. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, like. Talk to you later. Bye.